since there is no widely accepted protocol for measurement of noise from wind turbines. Current regulatory requirements are based on modeling. Does anybody want to hear all of this? No? Okay.
But it did come from the company's binder.
This all came from the company's binder. This is all stating that 35 is too loud at night, 40 is too loud during the day, and the setbacks are not enough. I didn't write it. It's in the 3-ring binder from them. So, really, this is their own information. I'm not making it up. Didn't find it online. Found it in their information that they're giving to our towns, to our representatives. Well, they're getting taxpayer money.
Thank you, Janice. Okay, we realize that this is a real emotional issue. We've got a big crowd here tonight. I would ask that when people do speak, we're going to give you another 20 minutes for privilege of the floor, that you're respectful of one another. From that, I'll open up the floor.
I got a question. Road Commissioner. The Hayden Road and Catherine-ville Road are both seasonal. What takes place up there?
As far as,
Who's going to widen them? Who's going to maintain them? Are you going to maintain them in winter?
no, I'm not gonna maintain it. I'm not gonna whine.
Please hold your applause to the end. Anyone? Mr. Butterfield?
So what she's saying is true, the decibels are already too high, setbacks are already too close. Why are we even thinking about making the decibels higher then? Or putting the windmills closer to property lines? What's the sense in it?
Current wind law states, the one that was passed in 2011 states 1,800 feet. The proposed wind law states 2,500 feet. That's what the wind board recommended. We have a little disagreement among the board members on this, which we'll get to later in the agenda,
So they're saying it should be 2,500 instead of 15?
instead of 1,800.
So if they're
Yes.
saying it's 25, well, maybe 25 setback then.
That's what has been recommended, yes.
Why do we want, and why are we asking for them to be set closer?
Because we have a couple board members that felt we should stay with 1,800, so we haven't come to an agreement yet. But that's further down the agenda.
If that's the company's recommendation is 2,500,
No, the company's recommendation is not 2,500. The wind board's recommendation is 2,500. The company, I'm assuming, was fine with the 1,800 that was originally proposed. Does that make sense?
then what about the decibels? Why bother raising the decibels if what she's saying is already either too high?
We aren't raising, well, I mean, the current law in 2011 states 45 UVA. Wind board recommended 40 across the board. Again, that's another discussion that the board members are having. So I can't really answer your question yet. Oh my gosh, I can't. In the back. Yes, you haven't spoken in a while.
No, so 2 questions. If we, as a Hopkinton Town Board, and making a certain set of agreements to our wind law, and that contradicts with what Parish Bill has already in place, how is that going to impact the whole project itself? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea.
Second thing is, I was just reading something about, this is related to the pilot, in-bring pilot. So the recommended pilot, the information to be given by Avonburg was for a 30-year, I believe, pilot.
Yes.
Yeah, I was reading something on the state's property assessment taxation website today for section 487. And it has to do in there about where they can gain an exemption from taxation of the towers for up to 15 years. But there's also a section in here that says if towns or municipalities choose to take a pilot instead, the pilot by law can no longer be contracted for more than 15 years. So So I'm kind of curious how the aggregate's 30 years is contradicting state law, which says you're not allowed to do it for more than 15 years, and why that's never been kind of brought up and addressed. So that's kind of more of an informational point.
Okay, thank you. Good to know. Lori, we haven't heard from you in a while.
Thank you. I wanted to speak this evening about compromise. At your last meeting, there was some discussion regarding a compromise between what the wind developer wants and what the majority of citizens want. Non-participating landowners have no problem with compromise. We have had to compromise throughout this entire process. What some board members fail to understand is that the draft wind law proposed by the Hopkinton Wind Advisory Board is the product of much compromise. Had those same board members taken the time to attend even a few of the numerous meetings that the Hopkinton Wind Advisory Board held, or even reviewed the videos that we made available, you would have a better understanding of the entire process. First of all, concerned citizens residing in the towns of Hopkinton and Parrishville requested setbacks of 1.2 miles or 6,336 feet from non-participating property lines, while the wind developer requested setbacks of 1,800 feet from the outside wall of a residence. The Hopkinton Wind Advisory Board compromised with a setback of 2,500 feet or 5 times the total height of the tower from a non-participating property line. Our position is, if you want to talk further compromise, then let the compromise be with the setbacks from the residences of the leaseholders. If leaseholders wish turbines to be closer than 2,500 feet from their homes, then make allowances for that by stating that leaseholders can request a variance of 1,800 feet or less, if that is what they truly want. If they want a turbine within 500 feet of their home, by all means, let them. Our rights, on the other hand, should not be compromised any more than they already have been. Secondly, concerned citizens requested a maximum noise level of 35 dBA day and night. The wind developer requested a noise level of 45 dBA day and night. Once again, the Hopkinton Wind Advisory Board compromised with a maximum noise level of 40 dBA day and night. Again, if the leaseholders wish to have a higher dBA level, that can be accomplished on their land by allowing industrial wind turbines to be placed closer to their homes. Please keep in mind that there are several leaseholders who have chosen not to lease the property upon which their home is built, opting instead to place industrial wind turbines near individuals who do not want industrial wind turbines. How thoughtful. Apparently their concerns regarding health, safety, and well-being only extend to themselves and not to their extended family, neighbor, or friends. Thirdly, the wind overlay zone. It is our opinion that the wind developer initially set the wind overlay zone and the town of Hopkinton adopted the zone as it was requested. Furthermore, based on the minutes from 2011, I believe that the town of Hopkinton board thought, albeit incorrectly, that when they formally passed the local wind law, they had also formally passed the wind overlay zone. Roger Linden was assigned the task of filing the local law. As your legal counsel, it would have also been Mr. Linden's duty to file the overlay zone, and it is of grave concern that the town has paid a great deal for expert legal advice and that they have been shortchanged in the process. For these reasons and more, non-participating property owners in Hopkinton and Parrishville are requesting that you do not further compromise our future health, safety, and well-being. You do not have the right to forsake our rights for those of leaseholders. With all due respect, if you are going to consider any further compromise, please let that compromise be on the part of the wind developer, the leaseholders, and the town council members who appear to only care about the project and demonstrate no concern for the very residents who voted them into office. We have done more than our share of compromising. In closing, I would like to read from a synopsis of Kevin Martis's video on trespass zoning that I have prepared for your review and I'll hand out later. Who decides? The wind developer prefers to place the difficult decision of do we let wind in or not in the hands of the zoning authority i.e. town board alone. By creating two-stage zoning and setting these limits at the property line, the decision as to whether or not the project proceeds is now in the hands of the private property owners and the developer. And that is how it should be. Thank you.
May I follow on from?
Kelly was first.
Okay.
That was really great, Lori, and that was just perfect. I'm just gonna ask some upfront questions tonight. First of all, like it's already been mentioned a couple of times, for anybody who's not aware, the Wind Advisory Board was appointed by our members of the board. Right here, you appointed, no, you're saying no?
I did not.
So you voted against all of them, or
I was not on board when they were appointed.
you were not on the board when they were appointed?
Last July?
Yes or no?
I started in January, so,
January this year?
yeah.
No, that he wasn't.
Okay, but as a board member, you should respectfully, you should be respectful of the Wind Advisory Board because it was appointed by the board that was in place. So the Wind Advisory Board put in all of those hours voluntarily, no pay, nothing but hardship really. It was, I imagine it must have been an excruciating task. And now, our board of Hopkinton is not accepting our wind advisory suggestions, the wind law, which, again, was just full of compromise. And who on the board right now is holding us back is Mr. Stephen Parker. Now, I had some questions for Mr. Crump too, but he's not here tonight. What I'd like to know, and maybe you can present it at the next meeting, is how many relatives does Mr. Crump have that are leaseholders? We already know that his employer is a leaseholder. Regardless of the fact about the tax issue, his employer is a leaseholder. How many friends does he have that are leaseholders? Abstaining is a choice of his. If he has this many conflicts, he should be choosing to abstain from voting against this. That's what he's doing. And Mr. Parker, how many relatives do you have that are leaseholders?
To my knowledge, none.
You don't have any?
Not that I know of.
Are you related to Walter Parker?
Not, if I am, it's distant. It would be my grandfather only had sisters. My father only had sisters, so
And how about Peter Parker?
same thing.
So
My
same thing, so they're distant relatives.
third or fourth, I don't even know who they are.
Okay, but they are distant relatives.
Isn't
Well,
everybody in
okay.
this room a distant
No,
relative?
no,
We don't go that far, Shelley.
I'm not saying that is part of your ethical law, I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying that he has relatives that are leaseholders. Do you have neighbors that are leaseholders?
Other than maybe Dick Akins. I think he
Okay.
owns the property behind me, but
Okay, he owns a property behind him. Have you